First of all, Ivan, thanks so much for joining us here. It's very nice to meet you, first and foremost. Everyone in Malaysia is excited to see you in the Premier League, of course, this coming season. For you as well, it's been a long time coming, Ivan. I mean, you've paid your dues, you've worked extremely hard in the lower leagues. I think sometimes fans tend to forget just how much hard work really goes into a football career, and you're finally finding yourself in the Premier League. Perhaps just tell us how rough the years were, how much hustle you had to put in for you to even get to this stage.
I think for the people that's watched me over the years know what I've been through. I feel like missing time with my family, my friends, being far away from them, some going days without speaking to them, and mentally as well. It's been tough. Obviously, sometimes you think about other things, you forget to eat and things like this, and all my loan moves going here, there, and everywhere. I think it shows the kind of man that it's made me into today that I've grinded for this, and I feel like from young as well, I've jumped at playing in the Premier League. So from 18 going to Newcastle, then going knocked back again, it just shows that if you continue at it and you have your mind positive, then who knows what you can achieve. And I'm back in the Premier League now, where I see myself that I belong here. So I just got to continue that way and make sure I remain a Premier League striker.
And I'm sure you are crazily excited. I think that statement itself would be an understatement about the coming up season in the Premier League. But when you think back of those years in the lower leagues, have you ever sort of, what were the thoughts going through your head? I'm sure, like you said, those are difficult moments. You had a lot of different sacrifices as well. Mentally for you, just how difficult it was.
Yeah, it was tough, especially me being let's say, mummy's boy. I've been away from my mum for so long, and it's tough. And obviously, I'm on the phone to my dad all the time, and going back is strong. It's hard to go back and see them because back then I didn't really drive, and it was like I was far away from them. So, and it wasn't just around the corner. It just had to be a phone call all the time. But yeah, it was a tough one. And especially getting knocked back when you see yourself as a Premier League striker, being at Newcastle, then you're having to go back down a league permanently to League One. It's tough because you're used to the Premier League mindset, then you get knocked back to League One. So it's like, am I really? You start questioning yourself, am I really a Premier League striker? But then you just got to stick at it, and just because one person doesn't want you doesn't mean it's the same opinion on everyone else. And I stuck at it. I knew what I was capable of. And here I am talking to you today, now a Premier League striker.
Yeah, because even the big players today, I mean, you yourself are a big player, but I'm referencing someone even like Harry Kane, who's struggled before and having had to pay their dues, so to speak. Who was there to sort of give you that advice, to sort of hold your hands? As you mentioned, you even question yourself if you were Premier League material.
I think it was more the fact that when I was at Newcastle, Peter Beardsley, he kept on at, for those that know Peter Beardsley, his name speaks for itself. But yeah, he just spoke to me one time, and I remember him saying, like, he said to me that I was a joy to watch. Like, he's excited to watch me train and things like that. And just hearing that from such a guy like him and a player he'd been, it's just crazy to hear. And coming from him, it's just that gives you the boost you need, and just say, I must be doing something right, because coming from him is crazy. So that little comment that he said to me kept me going and give me that boost. So I thank him for that, and I feel like it's made me the exciting player to watch, like he said.
Yeah, we're excited to see you, of course. And after your years of loan stints, as you mentioned, you finally got the breakthrough at Peterborough, especially in the second season. And you even voted as well as the EFL Player of the Season. What was the turning point at Peterborough? What was it that clicked?
I think it did help. I had my son around them times as well, and it was a matter of fact of, right, I have to kick on now and make sure my son has the best life possible. And I think the first season I went to Peterborough, I didn't really get into the team as soon as I wanted to, because obviously the strikers in front of me were doing well. And then it was just being patient, really. And then when I got my chance, I took it. And I think my season started in just the beginning of December, and I ended up scoring something like 18, 19 goals. So then from there, I kicked on to going into next season, where I scored 24 goals and the season got cut short due to the pandemic, and that was in beginning of March. So I feel like from there I kicked on massively. It made me stronger as well, being patient, and it just shows that when you get your chance, you have to take it with two hands because it might not come around too often.
Did you do anything differently in terms of your personal training regime or diet or things like that?
Well, yeah, diet really. You have to make sure you're eating right, sleeping well, recovery, things like this. Especially having my son as well. It made me stay at home a lot more, and like obviously you're resting more, you're eating the right things and things like this. Well, kind of resting depends when it's up in the middle of the night. But other than that,
Well, were you ever on diaper duties at night?
yeah. It was half and half. We played it half and half, but nah, it was good. Obviously, you start looking back on things and looking at certain things what you have to prioritize. I think that was the main thing: staying in, looking after my son, and being good. So I think that helped massively, and it kept you focused.
How old is he now, if you don't mind me asking?
He's two in next week, actually.
Ooh, terrible twos.
Yeah, it's terrible too. You said it perfect.
But yeah, anyways, of course, your season at Peterborough and you moved to Brentford. And at this point, it was pretty clear that Brentford are a side that make very calculated, sort of data-driven moves. Were you aware of their rationale behind their decision to bring you in?
Yeah, I did hear some talk. To be fair, I think it's key when you move to a club, you want to know the background and how much they really want you. I think the first year I was at Peterborough, there was some talk of Brentford interested, and I think they couldn't sort of come to an agreement. Then I stayed at Peterborough for another 6 months, so then in January there was more talk of them wanting me, and they still couldn't come to an agreement. And then obviously after that, they showed more interest, and then they finally got the target they was after. So I think that's key, knowing that a club actually wants you and they're after you for, they stay persistent for a year. So that speaks a lot for itself. So it's just up to me whether I went to. I think the choice was it was inevitable that I was going to come here, but it just shows that when you're here, it was up to me to repay them for the faith they put in me, and I feel like I certainly did that.
Yeah, you certainly did that. I mean, 31 goals in the championship, incredible record, a really good reward for your years of hard work. So how did Thomas Frank then bring out the absolute best in you?
Just speaking to me really, and getting me fit. I feel like the first few games I come, it's always the first goal is always the hardest to get as you're being a striker, and the first 4 or 5 games I wasn't really scoring, and he just pulled me into his office and said, "Just you're trying too hard to get that first goal. Just do what you normally do. Just be patient, and it will come." And then I took that advice. I took it on board, and then when I got my first goal, I didn't look back, and I got I got the rest of them.
Well, as we've mentioned, you are back in the Premier League as not only just a much better player this time, but also a much stronger person in terms of your mental strength as well for all that you've gone through. It has been an incredible journey. So what's your goal for the coming season?
My goal is to stay healthy, stay fit, stay focused, and score as many goals as possible, and also do very well for the team, and hopefully win the league.
Well, hopefully win the league. We'll start with the first game then against Arsenal. Hopefully you might score a goal there for your first game of the Premier League back in top flight. But you look at someone like Patrick Bamford, perhaps. How much of an inspiration do you draw from someone like him? Not exactly the most similar of journeys with you, but he was also deemed not good enough for the Premier League at one point for years, only for him to prove himself and to prove everyone wrong as well last season. How much inspiration do you draw from someone like that?
Well, yeah, obviously his journey's been, I'd say, similar to mine. I feel like it goes to show that someone else's opinion doesn't really matter. It's just what you think and what you focus on in your own head. Obviously, people saying he's not good enough, but if he deems himself good enough, then that's all that matters. And as he's shown that he's scored a respectable amount of goals, and I feel like if you want something and you stick at it, then it's achievable. He's played in the league, so he knows what it's like to be playing back there, and I'm sure he wouldn't want to go back from playing in the Premier League. So he's kept himself a Premier League striker, and I'm sure he will have a good career, rest of his career.
How much do you actually look at social media comments or those criticisms online or in the media or papers and things like that?
To be honest, I'd lie if I said I didn't look. Obviously, it's now and then you have a little browse, but honestly, me, I don't take no notice of it. People can say what. I remember actually one time I looked, one person saying, "Oh, Ivan, we love you. You're so good, this and that." And when I went on a drought, I think the drought was like must have been like 6 games. It's not really a drought, but 6 games not scoring for me, I start losing my mind. But I remember the same person said I was rubbish, I shouldn't play football again, this and that. So from a few weeks before saying I'm the best player, they love me, to saying they hate me, I'm the worst player. It just shows people up and down, and they get caught in their emotions. So you can't take no notice of all that, and just gotta focus on yourself and make sure you're thick-skinned and stay positive, really.
Yeah, sometimes people can be fickle. So can I just confirm that you do tweet yourself? Do you manage your own social media? Because I know a lot of footballers nowadays just kind of give it to their social media manager and they sort out the whole work. Is you on Twitter, right?
Yeah, me on Twitter and my own Instagram. So yeah, that's me.
Right. So I think the one thing that we cannot ignore, just one final thing, is everything just wrapped up at the Euros not too long ago, and England making it into the final for the first time in since the 66. Okay. And it's a massive thing. And I'm just wondering if that is your next big dream. And given that you have yet to opt to play for Jamaica as well, is that something that's also actively playing in the back of your head?
Yeah, it is there, but I feel like obviously England's not come around just yet. There was talks of Jamaica, but it was a tough one. I just wanted to, when they come around, it was an important stage for me, obviously with the playoffs. I just wanted to focus on that. I wanted to make sure I was fully focused on getting the club promoted. And who knows what's to come. I feel like if they both come again knocking, we'll have to have that conversation with my family, and we'll make a choice off the back of that.
All right, just one final thing then. To all your Malaysian fans here in Malaysia who are supporting you, supporting Brentford, just a quick message to them if you don't mind.
Yeah, I had messages to say thank you for supporting us, and not just myself, the whole team. Everybody can't wait to play this season. We can't wait to get kicking off against one of the big teams, which is Arsenal. We love your support all the way from Malaysia. So hopefully we can do you proud in this oncoming season.
You're going to score against Arsenal, right?
Yeah.
Brilliant stuff. I love that confidence. Thanks, Ivan. Thanks for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you very much. Good speaking to you.